Today I'm going to tell you a story about a 43-year-old housewife's fall from grace. Mayo is worried and busy with her family every day. She seems powerless to even listen to her daughter Hina's phone call. Mayo wanted to persuade her daughter to go home. After all, the men out there are not reliable. But Mayo only thinks about it. She really has more than she can do. And her son Shuichi hadn't eaten at home for a long time. Mayo thought tiredly, has Shuichi found a girl who will cook for him in some small house? Although this is something to be happy about. But as a mother, who wouldn't want her son to eat her own cooking? At the dinner table, it's usually just the husband and Mayo. They chatted and chatted and chatted. Life seems to have been plain. It can't be plain anymore. Mayo gets worried every time she watches TV reports about young people who don't come home for a few days and have accidents outside. So when she saw her husband's indifference, she couldn't help but think, is her husband's mind never thinking about her children? After a busy day, Mayo wanted to take a bath and go to bed, but she couldn't. She had to put on her daughter's old sweater and her son's old coat and then go to the cashier's night shift in the cold. When she got home, she still couldn't sleep because she still had to make breakfast. She was so tired that she finally sent her husband away, but then her daughter came home. Exhausted, Mayo didn't want to say anything. She just wanted to sleep, but she didn't feel like a good mother. She was curious about where her daughter was sleeping. With this thought in mind, she immediately went to her daughter's bag to see if there were any condoms. She was relieved to find no condoms. After taking care of her daughter's business, she had to go out to visit her mother again, bringing her dinner and listening to her chatter. Although Mayo was sleepy, she kept herself awake, and she didn't dare to tell her mother that the family was living in a very difficult situation since her husband had been laid off. The routine and dullness of life made Mayo feel like a mediocre person. She always talked to herself, saying that her worries were her mother and daughter. The only things she wanted were money and sleep. Work and housework consumed his whole day. Then one day Mayo got a good night's sleep, only to be woken up by a phone call from her mother in the evening. His mother kept nagging him about her caregiver, saying that he was not doing well here and there. Mayo listened tiredly without saying a word. She knew that her mother just wanted her to deliver food over there. And then after that, my mother will carelessly say that you don't need to come. At that moment, her husband came home. He said that it was raining heavily outside and all the clothes were wet. Mayo rushed to the balcony to collect the clothes. She thought helplessly in her heart, husbands never do what they are not told to do. Maybe that's why he was laid off. But her husband would never know. He was always confused and didn't care about too many things. And by the time Mayo finished putting away the laundry, his mother was still chattering on the phone. So Mayo unplugged the phone line this time in annoyance. Later Mayo went out in the pouring rain and got wet on his bike on the way to work. A colleague at work kindly lent Mayo a shirt. Mayo put on this young dress and felt much prettier. Although she was already very young looking, she soon found out that the pajamas she had been eyeing were on sale today. So when her colleague Hamazaki came over and complimented Mayo on her charm, she asked Hamazaki to find a nightgown to give to her husband. But by the time she got off work, it was still raining heavily. What's more, Mayo found that her bicycle was missing. Hamazaki just came out to help her look around and said she couldn't find it. So Hamazaki enthusiastically offered to drive Mayo home again. Mayo was so tired that she should have refused but finally got into the car. She just wanted to get home and shower and get some rest. But halfway there, Hamazaki suddenly offered to buy her a drink, and even if Mayo refused, it was useless. So she was silent. As she got out of the car, Mayo suddenly wondered if her own daughter was in the same situation. After all, even an older woman like herself has been courted. As she thought about it, Mayo got worried about her daughter. When she saw Hamazaki approaching, Mayo's instinctive reaction made her scream and scream. After attracting a security guard, Mayo said pervert. Hamazaki was then taken away by the security guard. Mayo, who was asleep at home, was woken up by her daughter. Hina said seriously that she was leaving the house. Until she can afford to pay the rent, she will stay at Mizutakura's house and finish high school. Mayo thinks her daughter is being unreasonable. Hina says that she hates her mother again. Hina thanks Mayo for giving her the opportunity to go to school. But the thought of going home and seeing Mayo's face makes her depressed. Hina cried out from her heart, "I don't want to be like you, Mom. I hate your way of life." Mayo sits down helplessly. Itakura-san told Maho, "You are like a heavy burden to Hina." Hina just left with Itakura and left completely. Maho knows she should have tried her best to keep her daughter, but inside she wants to lie down and go to sleep. Maho didn't know what was right anymore. She had always wanted to do her best, but suddenly she was laid off in Hina's world. Sleeping until dark, Shuichi returns. Mom's phone call woke Maho up. The message from her mother on the phone was still nagging Maho about why she didn't visit her. Maho hung up the phone in anger. Maho hung up the phone and said coldly to Shuichi, "Your bike is mine from now on. Don't just ride it." But Shuichi retorted, "Why should I? You are the one who don't ride it." Hearing this, Maho remembered what Hina said again. "I hate your way of life." Maho's body was instantly filled with power. The source of this power came from inner despair. She shouted in her heart, "Are you kidding me?" And then she slapped Shuichi, just as her husband came back and saw her. So what if he saw it? So what? After this incident, Maho rode Shuichi's bicycle to her mother with vigor. She said to her mother seriously, "I'm alive. I'm alive and well. But I don't live for you, Mom." And then she went to work with vigor. She finally stopped being dead and decided to live for herself. Anime title: Otona Joshi no Anime Time, Dakoka Dewane Koko. The pain of a housewife that no one knows. Isn't it sad? The financial pressure of the family is really just a small problem in front of Maho. The pain she suffers comes from her own family. She gave most of her life for the three of them. All she gets is the disappointment of her husband and the overwhelm in front of her children. The damage of language is straight to the soul. How many people can share this despair? As a mother, Maho lives in a state of worry every day. The funny thing is that her children's rude words make Maho realize that she is the eldest. A slap is to teach him respect. As a daughter, she would bring food to visit her mother every time she was tired, which is filial piety. The funny thing is that her mother puts more pressure on Maho, who is already under a lot of pressure. Maho is busy and Maho needs time for herself. Maho has never been ungrateful. As a wife, when she saw pajamas on sale, even though she was short of money, she didn't forget to bring one for her husband. Even when a colleague offers to make a move, she chooses to resist to the end, which is the way to be a wife. The funny thing is that Maho has even laughed at herself, thinking that she is a half-aged woman. Maho is still beautiful. She always looks 18 years old. She is as charming as ever and can still make men fall in love with her. Even if you are bullied outside, you will be bullied at home, since they are all part of the family. So when you do your part, please also do your part. Do not seek mutual understanding, but at least mutual respect. But if this extravagant desire can be realized so easily, Maho's pain will not exist. In that case, Maho should live in the present and move forward. This is the end of today's video. I really hope everyone can be kind and understanding to their wives and mothers. Housewives are never inferior. They are the light of the family, the hope that shines on the whole family. This is the end of today's video. If you like my video, then please follow me.